Hello guys and welcome to this tutorial. This tutorial is going to retrieve data from Parse to our app. It's real easy and simple. Before we can start, go to twittercell.swift. As you remember that we have created outlets for profile, username, content and time. This tutorial we are focusing on content because it's easy and simple. Because when you're retrieving text, you have just one line of code. But when you are retrieving file of type PF file, you have several things to write, such as also the username and time. Alright, but the time you will not retrieve anything from Parse. You're just generating the time and date from your Xcode project. Alright, so let's get started with the twitter.swift class. Scroll down. We have function called cell for row at index path. Inside the function we have only one constant, which is cell of type Twitter cell. We are going to use this constant to access the Twitter cell outlets. Alright, so before you do that, you have to create another constant of type PF object. To retrieve data, you have PF object to generate the object to anything to any type you want. All right. So let's start with let timeline object of type PF object equals to self dot timeline dot object at index path dot row as PF object. Now we have the constant of type PF object. Now we can now retrieve data from Parse to set the data inside the cell. All right. Now let's start with cell of this constant cell dot content, which is this one, content of type UI label. UI label has a property which is text of type string equals to timeline object of type PF object dot object for key, leave it here as string. Now why I leave it here? Because you have to go back to Parse, then the Twitter class. You have to make sure that you have the same spelling of the field of the content. You have C capital ONTANT. Go back to Xcode and write it. Alright, now it will work, but when you run this Xcode project for this moment, the app will crash because the others has no data in it, because it will return null, so the app will crash. Alright, so leave it like this in this step. In next tutorial we are going to focus on the date and time formatting. Alright, and generate data in Xcode project, and also retrieve the created at field from Parse. Alright, so what is all about this? You assign the content.text to the content of type string. Alright? So see you to the next tutorial.